StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that, Dre? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, we are starting a 3-part mini series here that is titled What to Do When You Do Not Have Resources. Before we get into this, I remind you all of 2 things. First of all, my daily motivation, Monday motivation message is guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point, start your day or your week respectively. All you got to do to get this is be a member of my texting community, and it's free to join. So all you got to do is text me at my number, 305-384-6894. And once we start sending that message out again, you'll be getting it straight to your phone. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's where you can get access to having me as your direct coach, where you can get on our live coaching calls, share your questions, share your challenges, and get them addressed directly by me, live in person to you as your direct coach. Get access to all of our courses, all of our back-end trainings, and there's a lot in there. We're talking over 4,000 lessons in our back-end university, stuff that you can't find anywhere else. Organize all of our masterclasses and everything else. That is workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link is, of course, down below in the description. Now, getting into the topic here today, which is what to do when you don't have resources. Again, this is a 3-part series, so this is just part 1, and then tomorrow and the day after we'll go into part 2 and 3. All of us have been in situations where we simply didn't have the resources to do things. So whatever you consider to be a resource to do anything, whether that's a person, whether it's knowledge, whether it's money, whether it's credit, whether it's access, whatever it is, and we didn't have the resources to either do it, or at least we couldn't do it the simplest and easiest way that it could be done. So today and in this series, what I'm going to discuss is not, I'm not discussing the context of, I'm discussing this in the context, of not having resources generally in life. And I'm not talking the temporary circumstance of such as you have a low bank account right now because there's no money, or you're in a town and you don't have friends. I mean, if you are, for example, this is the context that I'm using here. I mean, for example, you're just starting out and you don't have a lot to your name. What could you do? That's what I'll be answering here today, and again over the next 2 episodes of this class. Now, lack of resources is usually focused around not having money, not having time, not having the right information, or not knowing the right people. It's usually one of those 4: money, time, information, and connections. So today I'm going to tell you what to do if you feel like you can't move forward because you don't have one of those things: money, time, information, connections. All right, any of those is in your way. Good news is everything I'm going to share here are things that you have full control over, unlike your access to those resources. You don't always control, well, you do, but not always control how much money you have access to. You do, but you don't always control time, your information, and the people you're connected to. Everything I'm going to share in this series, today, tomorrow, and the day after, are self-disciplines that you can enact and start using even when and if you don't have anything else going for you in life. Okay, you open for that? You open it up? Okay, so any of you listen to this and you feel like you don't have anything going for you, what can you do? That's what I'm going to share in this mini series. You ready? Point number 1. Today's topic, once again, is things that you need to be doing even when you don't have resources. And actually, I'm going to make sure I'm putting in my notes here the title, because I want it to be things you need to do when you don't have resources. That's a better way of saying it than things that you can do. These are things you need to do. All right, I'm giving you a prescription here. Point number 1, be on time. You don't have resources. You're a complete nobody. You have achieved nothing. You have 0 resume. Nobody knows who the hell you are. Nobody knows your name. If you died, nobody would care. Be on time. Better yet, be early. Be on time, be early for what, Dre? Everything. Be on time, better yet, be early for every damn thing you do. If you are a nobody with no resume, what the hell are you doing showing up late? Explain that to me. How much money, time, or information do you need to be punctual for everything that you do? That's a trick question because you don't need any. Anybody can be early for everything that you do. I don't care who you are. Even if you're the most successful person in the room, you should still be the first one in the room. Or we should be early enough that if anybody is there before you, they were even earlier than you. Early is on time, folks. I had a high school health teacher. He used to say, always be 15 minutes early for anything you do because it shows respect to the people you're dealing with and lets them know that you are thinking about the task at hand. He would say something like a job interview. You go to a job interview, be 15 minutes early to let them know that you're thinking about it. He was 100% correct. You need to accept that early is on time is late, and late is forgotten. Should I say that again? Early is on time is late, and late is forgotten. It's completely unacceptable for you to be late when you don't have resources. You can't be punctual and you still don't have resources. Again, my question is, what the hell else were you doing that is causing you to not have respect for time? You don't have any money, you have no resume, you have no accomplishments to your name, and you don't have a lot of options, and you're offering an opportunity. How are you showing up late? I remember I heard this story. I can't remember who the player was. I believe it was this guy named Andre Blatch. He used to play for the Washington Wizards basketball team in the NBA. And he had a teammate named Antoine Jameson, Antoine Jameson had a solid career in the NBA and a very respectable NBA career. Before that, he was a superstar player at the University of North Carolina and in the NCAA college basketball. I believe he won Player of the Year once or twice. And Jameson was teammates with Vince Carter, for those of you who don't remember Antoine Jameson. But Antoine Jameson was a highly respected veteran guy who had made an all-star team or two in the NBA. And in the NBA, for those of you who don't know how it works, when there's a game for the team, let's say if you're playing on the road, so your team is staying at a hotel, there are two buses that get to the arena before the game. There's what they call the early bus and what they call the late bus. So the early bus gets to the arena, let's say there's a certain time that everyone is required to be at the gym, and the late bus gets you there before that time, but there's a bus that leaves even earlier than that. So if you want to come early to the gym and maybe get some extra workout in or some treatment on your body, etc., those are the players the players will take the early bus. So often you'll see players who maybe don't get a lot of playing time, they'll take the early bus over to the arena so that they can get some extra work in and do some training and practice and basically get a whole workout in before the game, because they are expecting that when the game starts, they probably won't be playing. So they just get that workout in to get something moving their body instead of just sitting on the bench all game. And coincidentally, this is not part of my story, but since I'm thinking about it, I'll bring it up. There's an NBA player by the name of Ray Allen. Many of you remember Ray Allen. He was known as one of the greatest shooters of all time, made that famous three-pointer in Game 6 of 2013 NBA Finals. Ray Allen was famous for when his team was on the road, whatever team he was playing for, he wanted to be even earlier than the early bus. So let's say if the early bus gets to the arena at 4:30, Ray Allen would catch a cab and get to the arena at 3:30 just so he could get in extra work before the people who wanted to get in extra work. That was one of his disciplines and one of his habits. You can make of that what you will. But anyway, back to my story. This guy, Andre Blatch, was playing for the Washington Wizards. A very talented young guy, but he had not really realized any of his potential in terms of actual production on the court. And Antoine Jameson, was one of the veteran leaders on the team. So one day, I read a reporter told this story that Andre Blatch caught the late bus over to the gym before a game. And Antoine Jameson, being the savvy, respected veteran, he looked at Andre Blatch. He came over to Andre Blatch and started a conversation with him and said, "Andre, what are you doing taking the late bus to the gym?" He said, "No, what kind of contract do you have that you're taking the late bus? Did you make the All-Star game this year? What are you doing getting on the late bus when you have no accomplishments that put you in a position to be coming here on the late bus? You need to be on the early bus all the time." I don't think he said that part, but he was, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. The whole point being, if you don't have a bunch of accomplishments under your belt, why are you showing up at the same time as the people who are actually doing something? It doesn't make any sense. You should be showing up before them so that they know that you ain't on their level. You showing up with them as if you're doing the same thing that they're doing, and you're not. You're not accomplishing what they're accomplishing. Get another story here while I'm thinking about it. My sophomore year of college, I'm playing basketball at Penn State Altoona. And I remember when I got recruited there, our coach was a guy by the name of Kenny Macklin, good guy. And he said to me in the summertime when he recruited me, he said, "I want to let you know, Dre, that I play favorites." In other words, I have players on the team who are my favorites, and I'm going to let them get away with stuff that I don't let other players get away with. And even though I generally don't agree with people doing that, I understand that everybody ain't me. Everybody doesn't think the way that I do. And also respect the fact that Kenny Macklin told me that, because when I came to Penn State Altoona, he recruited me. I came and played there. He did actually do what he said he was going to do. He did play favorites. I was not one of his favorites, but I knew the players who were one of his favorites. And I remember at one point in that season, my sophomore year, we had lost we lost several games to start the season. I can't remember how many we lost. We lost a lot. but we were like 0-12, 0-13, something like that. And we went and played in a tournament on the road. This was like right after the Christmas break. So those who played college basketball, been involved, you know that right after Christmas, often the basketball team will have to come back to campus because we go playing games before the school semester starts again, but we're on campus because we got practices and games and stuff like that. So it was one of those tournaments. And I remember we lost 2 games at this tournament, and we're on the bus. All of us are waiting on the bus to go home after this failing tournament. And there were 4 players on our team. I remember these 4 guys. I'm not going to say their names, at least not today. But these 4 guys were late coming back to the bus to get on the bus so we could leave. The coach was already on the bus. Everybody else was on the bus. And these 4 guys were just late, and they kind of casually strolled to get on the bus. Now, these guys were, for the most part, playing consistently. And some of them were starters. I think 3 of them were starters. One of them was a bench guy. And they came back, and they had such a casual attitude, like they were separate from the rest of the team. I specifically remember this situation, and the coach was sitting right there and watched them walk on the bus late because he told everybody what time to be on the bus. They were late walking on the bus. The coach didn't say a single word. And it was at that point that I realized, okay, this team's not going to go anywhere. I knew the team wasn't going to go anywhere because the coach emphasized these rules of be on time, be early. You need to be here 15 minutes early. He's the coach that, if you ever heard me mention, I had a coach who said, be on the practice court 15 minutes before practice starts. He's the one who started that. And then when these guys just openly flouted his rule and just walked on the bus whenever, he didn't say a damn thing. And these guys were his favorites. And that's when I said, okay, this team's not going to go anywhere because everybody on the team was sitting on the bus. And we all saw these guys walk on the bus late. And we saw the coach see them. And the coach didn't say anything. I said, okay, we're in trouble. We were already in trouble. But things didn't go too well the rest of the season for that team. And that coach, by the way, at the end of that season, he got fired. Shout out to Kenny Macklin, still my guy to this day. But that was some bullshit that he did. And it was his rule that he allowed to be broken. Anyway, continuing on my point here was be on time for everything. When you are late to things, you're showing a lack of respect for whomever you're dealing with. That's what late means. When you are late to things, when you don't have things on your calendar, when you forget that you had an appointment, these are all ways of communicating that you do not respect whomever you are dealing with. Even if you did not intend it that way, that is the way it can be taken. And the person who takes it that way is not wrong to take it that way. It is your mistake to not be on top of your shit. If you're dealing with only yourself, let's say you're late for something that you set for yourself, then you're showing lack of respect to yourself. All right, is that okay? Does that make it better? All right, make it a habit to be early for every single thing that you do and never be late for anything, especially when you don't have resources. Even if you got all the resources, you should still be the first person in the room. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is things you need to be doing when you don't have resources. Number 2, get yourself in excellent physical shape. Excellent physical shape. When you have no resources, you're a nobody, you have achieved nothing, get yourself in excellent physical shape. Again, you don't need resources to do this. You don't even need a gym membership, even though I think if you have any inclination to get in shape, you don't have a problem somehow getting access to a gym. You don't have to have a bunch of money. You don't have to have a relationship with anybody to get on the floor and do 50 push-ups. You can do that from the comfort of your own home. Who's stopping you from doing 1,000 push-ups a day? You don't need a gym to do that. You don't need any equipment. You don't need anything. Who's stopping you from doing 1,000 push-ups and 1,000 sit-ups every day? What kind of resources do you need to stop fucking eating ice cream or to make better decisions about what you're putting in your body or stop doing drugs and stop drinking alcohol? What kind of resources do you need to do that? Exactly. You need nothing. You need no specialized knowledge, no specialized access in order to execute on this. So what is your excuse? And the point is, there is no excuse for this. Getting in excellent physical shape, especially for you men, but this applies to you ladies as well. Getting in excellent physical shape is a reflection of your personal discipline and personal respect you have for yourself and the one physical body that you have access to. Unlike a job or a car or a house, you cannot replace your body. When it starts going bad, it is never the same again. Maybe you can get a replacement part, but it ain't the same again when you start putting replacement parts on your body. You screw this up, nothing in your life is ever going to be the same if you screw up your body. Your physical body, again, is not replaceable. And again, when you have to start replacing pieces because of your disregard for or lack of care for it, things are never the same. Ask anyone who's ever had a body part replaced and they'll tell you. They can feel the difference. And you can tell the difference when someone's had something fixed or changed. You can watch them move and you can tell. Or they'll probably tell you because they notice it all the time. They're cognizant of it. Do not make this mistake with yourself. Get yourself in great physical shape. Now, why does this matter? Why would I put this on the list, and why is this one of the disciplines? This is one of the disciplines because being in great physical shape is a reflection of self-discipline, is a reflection of self-respect. Person who's in great physical shape, even if I don't know anything else about you, you just walk in the room and I see that you're in great shape. I say, okay, this person has, there's a there's an unconscious communication that is being put out there when you're in great physical shape, that you have the discipline to do whatever it takes to be in shape. That means you're being cognizant of what you're putting in your body and what you're not, and you're being cognizant of how you're using your body. That's the only way you can be in great shape. And the older you are, if you're still in great shape, that's more of a reflection of it. Because people, when we're young, let's say before the ages of, let's say, 25, you can be in great shape, or at least appear to be, without doing anything. I remember, I'll get to that in 1 second. But as you get older, once you get over 30, 40, 50, 60 years of age, to be in great shape, you got to actually do something. You got to be intentional and conscious about it. So when I see someone who's 50, 60 years old, and I can tell that they're fit, I can tell they have muscle tone, I can look at them and see, all right, this person works out. That tells me they have a certain level of discipline and a certain level of respect for themselves. And that translates to me having a certain amount of confidence in them just because of that. As opposed to someone who's in terrible shape at that same age, I get a different inference about them. Doesn't mean I won't do business with them, don't mean I can't be their friend, but it tells me a different story. And I know, going back to what I just mentioned a moment ago, I remember being in high school and in college, and I'll use females here as an example, but you can use males as well. Actually, I'll use both males and females, that before the age of 25. So let's say people I knew in high school and people I knew in college were in a certain shape, and they didn't even try to be in shape. They didn't do anything to be in shape. They were just in shape because they were young. I see those same people 10, 20, 30, not even 30, I'm not that old, but 10 or 20 plus years later, and they're no longer in shape. I'm like, man, what the hell happened to this person? This person looks like they're 40 pounds ago. They look 40 pounds ago, or 40 pounds later is what some people who I've known, male and female, look like, because they were never taking care of their body in the first place, at least not in a disciplined and consistent way. I'm suggesting to you that if you don't have resources, there's no excuse for you not being in shape. Again, you can show that you have discipline even if you don't have resources. Point number 3, today's topic, once again, are things you need to be doing even when you have zero resources. Number 3, give dedicated daily time to reading and learning. Dedicated daily time to reading and learning. Now, I don't think I need to say this with every point, but maybe I will throughout this whole series. And here's the thing that I'm referring to. What resources do you need in order to do this? None of you needs any resources to give dedicated time to reading and learning. You can read a lot of stuff for no charge whatsoever. You don't need any money. You can learn and listen to stuff. There's so much of it, there's more of it than you have time for. Quality substance material. I'm not talking some nonsense on TikTok. I'm talking some actual substance material that you can get access to. There are whole books on social media, on YouTube, that you can download PDFs. You can go and access these things and be consuming them every day. Any of you could consume one full audiobook a day just off of stuff that is out of copyright and available on YouTube. You could read 30 books in 30 days. You could. How many books have you read in all year? Any of you listening to this? In the last 12 months, how many books have you read? Some of you don't need to go past the fingers on your damn hand to tell me how many books you've read. When there are books, again, I just told you on YouTube, audiobooks you can listen to for free. Put it on 1.5x speed. If you're a native English speaker, you can understand it, and had a whole book done in a day. And you haven't read more than 5 books in a fucking year. But you're talking about you don't have resources. All right, tell me how that makes sense. Explain to me how that makes sense. You can read stuff on the internet without even buying the book. But again, I'm going to assume if you're listening to this, you have the resources to buy a book. The book costs, what, $20? You can buy a book. You can go on YouTube and watch videos all day. The question is, what videos are you watching? Are you watching some nonsense? Are you watching some rappers battle each other? Are you watching some gossip show? Or are you consuming something that's actually going to make you a more valuable person? What is your discipline, folks? You can use social media and follow people of substance, people who are actually offering things of substance in their content rather than people who are just talking shit and talking about events and talking about people. You can follow people who are talking about ideas. What's stopping you from doing it? You got to give dedicated daily time to enriching your mind and making yourself smarter, more valuable, and more useful to society. Everyone has access to this. Everyone can do it. Very few people actually do it. So after you finish formal schooling, most people never open up another book on purpose for the rest of their lives to read, at least not anything that's like development based. Your real life education, folks, begins when you leave school, not when you start school. Your real life education begins when you actually enter real life. Our school is not real life. The educational system is an indoctrination system that is only designed to serve people who either A, are going into a career where you need a certain degree, like engineering or flying planes or being a doctor, or if you want to work in academia, you want to become a teacher or a professor. If you're one of those that I just listed, then yes, follow everything the educational system tells you. Other than that, if you're not one of those, or you don't plan on being one of those, you can't do everything just the educational system alone and think that call yourself educated. You're not educated. You're indoctrinated. And nothing that you learn there is going to help you survive in any aspect other than the ones that I named. That's it. So how much real life education have you acquired in the last year? Again, why or why not? What are you doing? What are you doing? What were you spending your time doing? I remember it was Zig Ziglar who I heard talk. He was the first I heard mention. He called it Drive Time University. Drive Time University means every time you get in your car for a commute, whether you're going to the mall, you're going to work, you're coming home from work, you're going to the gym, whatever you're doing, the audio player in that car, back in the days it was cassette tapes, then we had CDs. Nowadays you can do it through Bluetooth or the aux cord. You can listen to anything you want. You could be listening to a YouTube video is going to make you smarter. You be listening to this show every single day. You be listening to an audiobook, but instead, what do you listen to? You listen to a Drake mixtape. Okay, now add that up. 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back every day. That's 40 minutes a day over the course of 10 days. What is that? 400 minutes over the course of a month. That's 1,200 minutes. Let's take out the weekends and let's just say you got somewhere between 800 and 1,000 minutes a month. How long does it take you to listen to, and how many audiobooks did you listen to in that much time every month? Again, you put it on a faster speed, you listen to more. These are all disciplines, folks. These are all things that you should be doing for yourself all the time, even if you do have resources. But let me recap my points. Again, we're on part one of a 3-part series, things you need to be doing when you have no resources. And I'm talking about you don't have money, you don't have information, you don't have access and connections to people, and or you don't have time. Number one, be on time, or better yet, early for every single thing that you do. There is no excuse for you not being on time or early for everything you do. And this is especially true as you get into a leadership position. Number two, get in excellent physical shape. Being in excellent shape infers, it communicates unconsciously to other people that you have some level of discipline and some level of self-control and a level of self-respect. That's why you're in great shape. Because people who don't have that, you're communicating something different. Number three, give dedicated daily time to reading and learning. Again, you have the time to do it. You are simply not doing it. Take the same time you spend listening to some nonsense music or looking at some bullshit on social media, and instead use that same time rather to consume something that's actually going to make you smarter, better, and a more productive and contributing member of society. We need more of them. All that said, folks, text me so you're in my community. My number is down below in the description, and workonyourgameuniversity.com. You get to work with me directly. You want to invest in something that's actually going to help you get better and move you to a higher level. Workonyourgameuniversity.com is the place that it happens, and that's the way that it occurs. That link is down below in the description. Tomorrow we'll get into part 2 of this series. Work on your game. Dre, all